In today's video, I'll show you the unboxing and installation of this cool 10-inch stereo in my twin-turbo Mustang. Alright, let's do this unboxing. Nice padding material, so you get user manual. There is all the connectors, so you have two USB ports. That's cool, and I have a whole lot of different RCAs. And the unit itself. Very nice. And yeah, the color is actually matching the interior color of the car. As you can see, the previous unit I bought, it does not have a matching color, it's just black, and this is gray. But this one is actually looks like matching better color. Will look good once I install it. Alright, just gonna put that here. So we're gonna need this. This has our USB connections. And maybe this is backup camera. Then we have aux in, mic in, video, all that good stuff. The GPS antenna, gonna need that too. And a microphone, that's cool. If you want to route your microphone somewhere close to the dash, that's also in here. Oh, look at that. They actually even include the pry tool. That is awesome. You got a screwdriver too. And you got a backup camera. I love it. Actually, yeah, maybe we'll see how the wiring harness looks like here. Or maybe it's just made, maybe they're gonna recognize it, because yeah, there's the signal, of course, will go through here, and this is power, I believe. So yeah, this will plug in like that, and this you wire into your reverse light. Some of them you can actually just get the signal from CAN bus, and I believe there should be a CAN bus decoder. Oh yes, yeah, this is a CAN bus decoder, so it will plug into your car and it will recognize when you open a door or do stuff like that. All right, let's get it installed. All right, let's start off this dismantling. First we need to do is remove the shifter, and that is simple. You just unscrew it counterclockwise. And then we need to remove the center console here, so you just open up this back of the compartment here, open up your cup holders, and you kind of just like grab it right here and try to pry it up, and then try to pry it from the back, and comes out like that. And then you just slide the boot over and get it started. There will be a connector here for the traction control and the hazard lights. Just unplug it. That's what it looks like, and the center console is out. Whether you have the factory stereo or non-factory stereo, the only things holding it in place is two 7mm screws at the bottom here. So yeah, that's what they look like. They're not even like bolts, they're actually just like screws. I already loosened them, and they just come out like that. So that's where they are, right there at the bottom. To pry out the stereo, it's good that they included this pry tool, so I would recommend to start from the bottom, because that's where your hand can actually fit, and you slide it along the edge. We just didn't wiggle it in there and kind of pop it out. So there's clips on the top and bottom on both sides, so you kind of just jam it in there, and there we go. So these are the clips right there, and they go in there. If you have a factory or non-factory stereo, all it is just a bunch of connectors at the back, so you can just reach in and unplug them. All right, and just like that, the stereo is out. Okay, so this is what we have here. So this is basically the two connectors for the stereo here, and then I also have this cable here for the reverse camera. So if you don't have your reverse camera wired in, it comes with a cable like this. So I suggest you will leave one end here and drop the other end through the side opening there. So, or just like fish it through one of the holes here. So I'm just fishing it through this sidewall, so you have it there ready to plug into the back of your stereo, and then you route this to the back of your car for the reverse camera later. Then we also have options for USB cables here. So this is just a USB type 2, and you can use, there's 3 options here. You can use 2 out of the 3. So I would go with these 2 here. So what I would do is I would unravel them, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in the glove box, the USB end, so that's where I'm gonna plug in my USB sticks. You can also route it to this compartment here, so you can have USB port in this compartment, but I like the glove box better. So what I would do is I'll just start with the reverse end, and you kind of just push it through the top, and there it is. That comes out like that, and you'll have it ready in your glove box like this. One more thing you want to install is this GPS antenna. So it likes to have clear path to the sky, preferably not under the metal. So where I would put it is try to put it like somewhere close to here, but underneath the dash. So just like fish your hand down there and start looping for something where I can put it. Oh, okay, I think I found the place. So this is a sticky tape right there, so just peel it off, find it where you want to put it, stick it in, and then we have this cable good to go to plug in the back of a stereo. If you don't have spaghetti hands, it's not too critical to shove it in way deep into the console. You could just put it on top here. I'm sure it'll work just fine. So now we got the car side basically ready. I have my GPS antenna here, I have my 2 USB cables here, and I have my reverse camera signal right there, and my antenna is also here as well. So I have other wires here just for my gauge cluster, but that's not important, so you might have it looking something different from this, but it should be quite similar. And now we're just gonna plug in everything else that will be wired up to this harness here. So let's get this head unit ready. So let's start with the main plug that plugs into the unit itself here. Then this thing has this CAN bus decoder that will be controlling the climate control. So plug into the climate control buttons right there. Then we have this aux left and aux right, and you plug it in aux left and aux right, basically into one of the other harnesses. And this harness has this big connector right there, and it goes into the big connector right there. This big connector also has your connection for the fan right there. So left, you see you have there blue and red, so those two go together like that. So you do have a similar connection looking right here. Wait, no, not that one, this one. This is black and white. Don't use this one, actually not sure what that is. Use this blue and black connecting to the red and black. And then everything else is very simple. It's basically impossible to mess up. The connectors are keyed and they will not go into the wrong hole because they're too small or too big. So then you have this 8-pin connector with 2 wires, and it just goes into the 8-pin connector right there. Simple as that. We have one more. Looks like, what do we have here? 10-pin connector right there, and for the camera. And you just plug it in right there. and we might be done. That's all there is to it. And then we have these two connectors that will plug into the car. All right, to start installation, I'm just gonna put this pad here so I don't scratch anything, and let's get it all plugged in. So this is my GPS antenna, just screws in right there. So in my case, I've disconnected this guy here so I can use the amp connect to power up my gauges right there. And if you have an amp, that's where you take it off. That amp connect basically gets power. When accessory power is on, the amp gets power, and that's what I have wired up to my gauges. So let me just get them all connected here. Start with the longest cables. So we have the USBs. Just like that. Then we have the reverse camera. So what I did to power up the reverse camera is I connected the red wire to my cigarette lighter power. So what that means is my reverse camera gets power all the time, but it's not gonna turn on the camera view until you actually put the car in reverse gear. Then you have the antenna right there. All right, so just tied up some of the loose wires here to make it clean, and then we're gonna connect this remaining harness here, which has the shortest wire that powers up my gauges. Yeah, and look at that. I think that's looking really good. One critical part: to be able to install this stereo, you need to transfer over these yellow clips from your old stereo. And there we go. So just pull them apart like this and slide them off the pins. In my case, I only have 4 pins, but in yours you might have 6. And let's just align it. All right, that's it, and it just clips in like that. And then let's test power it. So this will be a cold start. So how it works is it's loading software, loading operating system. When you have power cycled it, when there's no power disconnect, and it will take some time to load operating system. Once it's loaded, when you turn off the car and you start the car next time, it just goes to sleep. So when you turn off the car, the stereo goes to sleep. So when you turn on the car again, it does not need to power up again, it just wakes up. And I assume it will be faster than this. But if you ever tell your stereo to reboot, this is probably how long it would take. Not bad? Okay. Yeah, and let's test that theory. So I'm just gonna take out the key, and then you can see the power gonna go off. The gauge is also gonna power down. Nice. Okay, and I'm gonna put the key back in. And there you go, stereo wakes up. And let me see if I can get the reverse camera working. All right, beautiful, there it is. The reverse camera is all there. That is fantastic. Yep, it's getting dark, so I think I'll just wrap up here, and I will do review of the stereo later. So yeah, reinstall your 7mm screws right there at the bottom there. All right, now we're gonna reinstall the center console. So let's just open this storage compartment here. You're gonna wanna slide this in underneath the stereo like that, align your shift boot, reconnect your traction control buttons. All right, so align the boot, and then just wanna get it clipped in. So I start from the front, going backwards. All right, and we got it in. Then I'm gonna screw in the shift knob. and we are done. Isn't that beautiful and simple and easy? So I will do a full review of this stereo later, going into all the functions and my opinion on how well it functions on them. But for now, yeah, I do like the fitment. I think it fits well with the design of the car. It is similar color to the center console, and it has the backlit colors are all matching, so this is what you would get on your factory backlight. Mustang default color is this kind of like turquoise blue like, and it's matching that. It's actually extra bright. And do like the abundance of buttons. The display feels responsive enough. Yeah, connected to USB radio. So far I tried to download some maps for the Google Maps, and seems to be working really good. Android wireless, Android Auto also works. I was quite surprised about that. And there it is, check it out. I think it fits quite well within the theme of the car. As you can see, backlighting of the stereo and the icons matches perfectly with backlit buttons throughout the car, as if this was OEM equipment. Yeah, you can see through the icons right there. Not sure if that was intentional, unintentional, but it just flows perfectly well. I will link where you can buy this one from Amazon. I will also link a video where you can learn how I installed the backup camera on this Mustang, as well as this 3D printed gauge pod. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I will also do another video doing full review of the stereo and all its functions and capabilities. But for now, this will be it. Thank you for watching, and see ya.